Welcome to Maneuvering Monday. My name is AK and I'm one of your hosts. This is a summary video of what happens in the 3 first chapters of the book, so you're ready to listen to chapter 4 without having to go back. In the first chapter of the book, we meet Marie. She is the protagonist of the book and she's also the head of development HR in the edtech company Zebra Apps. And recently, a lot of people are resigning from Zebra Apps, and the CEO, Natalie, tasks Marie with finding out why. Marie benchmarks the competition, and she shares with Natalie and the VP of HR, Mark, who's her boss, that the only differentiating factor that Zebra Apps does not offer is free soda. And Marie also talks to a previous colleague, Anne, because she's trying to find out why people are leaving. And she learns that Zebra Apps could have offered one of their remote learning system products to displace children and teachers of Ukraine without any cost, but they chose not to do it. She's also reading exit interviews, and she learns that most employees mention that the company has changed in the past year, and during this year, the company has grown a lot on the sales side. And then Mark goes behind Marie's back, and he promises Natalie that Marie will launch a culture program to fix the retention problem. In the second chapter of the book, Marie and her team takes on developing the culture program, and we meet more of the person gallery in the story. Marie discovers that Natalie actually had defined a mission statement and company values when she founded the company, but that these have mysteriously disappeared from the introduction deck. The VP of HR, Mark, has soda fridges installed in Zebra Apps, but he does at one point in this chapter admit to Marie that he knows they will not solve the retention problem, and that actually Mark was the one to take out the values of the intro deck because he didn't think they resonated with reality in Zebra Apps. And Marie also learns that the co-founder of Zebra Apps, Richard, left the company when Zebra Apps got into cash flow problems, and now he's actually joining their main competitor as the CTO. Marie and her team facilitate a leadership offsite meeting, and Marie's team member, Sheila, has an uncomfortable situation with the CFO, Frank, when she's doing a facilitation session at the offsite. And later that same week, Frank retires from Zebra Apps. The third chapter of the story begins with a sugar mystery because all the sugar packets mysteriously disappear from the tables in the canteen. And meanwhile, Sheila from Marie's team, she feels really bad about this experience she had with the CFO. And therefore, Marie and the rest of the team get together for a kind of a structured exercise to cope with failure together. And they each share a mistake and they celebrate the learnings that came from that. And what also happens in this chapter is that one of the days in the canteen, there is a little sugar happening because all of the tables are covered in sugar, just a very thin layer of sugar, and a banner unfolds from the stairwell and it says, "You have sugar on your hands." Eventually, in this chapter, Marie and her team member Eric, they find out that the data center technician Willie was behind the sugar rebellion, and this is because he was a diabetic and he felt excluded from the company benefits when Mark got the soda fridges installed. But also, and maybe more importantly, he found out, or Willie found out that his new colleague Shane from the same department actually makes twice the salary than Billy does. And Marie gets quite upset about this, and she confronts the head of HR operations, Paul, about the salary disparity. And they then have an argument that kind of escalates a bit because Marie is very aggressive. And she actually ends up telling Paul to either collaborate and help her fix the salary disparity, or at least explain it, or she will, ask Mark, the VP of HR, to pick between the two, and she's pretty sure that he will pick Marie. Later, however, Marie finds out that Paul is under a lot of pressure because the CFO, Frank, actually did not freely choose to retire, but was actually fired and is now in a legal dispute with Zebra Apps because of the way he treated a colleague. Also in chapter 3, towards the ending, the VP of HR, Mark, agrees to giving Willie, who did the sugar stunt, a free pass. And Marie learns that half of the engineering team, so all Willie's colleagues, are actually unhappy due to pay disparities. And their boss, Jenny, asks Marie to fix her team. And that's where we are. We're ready for chapter 4. and you're now ready to listen to that without having to listen to everything from the beginning. Thank you for listening.